Had the issues yesterday. I jumped off, set up a new one, tested it, and it worked fine. So I don't know what it is. Should be good to go. So if anyone's actually on YouTube, just let me know if you can hear me. Let me just top a few things up. There you go. Everything's falling apart on me. Still have that keyboard issue. Let me. Is okay. Seems okay. All right, great. Let's wait to hear back from anyone. Hope we're doing well. What am I looking for? Look for that. Yeah, that'll do. And I'm trying to get up a chart. I'm trying to add in this space with another chart. Here we go, Brooke, and I think it's Jawad himself. Let's see if we get some trades today. So I've done just thanks for letting me know, mate. Oh, that's right. You don't. That's right. You're not in the chat, are you? So that's good. Now, what I'll do. We have people jumping in and out. I'll fill this with a minute chart, and then we'll rip into it. So before we get up and running, I'm just going to chat about this. Be really good setups. Well, there was some good setups some overnight. The currencies. It kicked off early, and it was kind of out of the blue. Just go and get that chart up and running. Who we got in? Who's typing? G'day, Adam. So I've done nothing this morning. See, that's a SPY there. That's just a mess at the moment. I thought it might have kicked off, pushed up a bit of ASX, not, I wouldn't say euphoria, but the QE. It doesn't look like anyone's too worried about it this morning. I think more concerned that the Europe got belted and then US has actually bounced back okay. Well, not okay, they were still down, but yeah, they bounced back pretty hard off the lows from the very weak open. So you got that, and then you had jobs numbers. Unemployment is stubbornly high, holding up, and it doesn't take much for that market to bounce. It's only really gaps down because of what's happening, and then soon as stimulus, any talk of stimulus, I think, come out and said something about stimulus. He wants something done by the end of before elections. That's his aim. Bang, market up we go again. So it's definitely getting buoyed. I think the market's just going to stay choppy, but edging higher, holding on to the highs at the very least into elections. I think that's sort of a given at the moment. I wouldn't be banking on any serious weakness just yet. I mean, it could happen. We saw it in Europe. Don't expect the Europe to be weak again on the open today. Well, was it 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock? What times it opens? It's 5 o'clock will be the futures, and I think 6 o'clock until they turn over to daylight savings. Well, out of daylight savings, I think. So there's a 1 hour for a while, and it turns over to 2 hours maybe. So I still can't get my chart up. It's just not loading. This is ridiculous. All right. Just doesn't love me, does it? All right, we'll stick with this then. Yeah, go away. Why won't you stay there? Learning my computer. That's what I want. And then I want that to stay there. Go away. So that can be the index side of it. All right. Now I've done all that, I probably need to do something else. It's the ridiculous platform. Okay. Well, let's just make do with what we've got at the moment, or what I've got anyway. Market pressed down, so we were playing around in this area. It bounced back and then sort of shorted in here. Look, I didn't kick on for me anyway. We did bounce, so that was what's that, 155. So it was a close. The close was here, wasn't it? What am I doing? So that was a 3 o'clock close. It did continue to edge higher, edge lower. But the thing is, it's broken down out of that rising trend that we're talking about. This rising trend support or dynamic support off the highs, got a good lower high. That was a session after, what was it, 4 o'clock open. So coming to the European Open session into 7 o'clock. Just another, or what's that, 3-hour session. So you've got basically from 12 till, or 12:15, 12:30, sorry, on the index until 3. So it's at 2.5 hours, then a 3-hour session. So with the hour break session, it did sort of flush out on the highs. It was trying to get held up here, then got a bit of a sell-off, bounced back a bit on the open, then started to find some more selling, you could see. And this was a prime, I wasn't around here, that would have been a prime area to enter short. If we go and look at the, let's just look over here, look at the physical index. That was the index there. It was just in here. You can see it worked out really nice. So that was the open back up there, back from 4 o'clock, pushed up, just flushed out a few, traded to this a minor anchor level, which would have been nice. Little minor anchor level here on the way down. Beautiful shoulder. As the market's starting to roll, you got longer term down. You've got the just below the hold, the 20, and the 50 is just starting to roll as well. Pretty sure I've got that 50 set. Yep. It started to roll there. It really did kick on. So wouldn't have expected, if you're trading that, you may not have expected that kind of a sell-off. And it was, so Europe opened at 5, futures at 5, and the index, the physical index at 6 p.m. just an hour later. So that's when the market's really got in a bit of a sell-off mode. So I don't know what's triggered it. Thinky. I just done trade setup. Sorry, trading view. Thanks for letting me know. So it's all working good. For some reason, through trading view and YouTube channel, it just didn't get through. I don't know what was that, but I think if you turn the stream off, you'd have to start it all over again. So seems to be we're up and running. We're doing well now. So nice. It played out quite nicely until we started to get the reaction off this low, and that was about 20 past 8 on the futures. It started to bounce back up. Interesting thing was that sell-off into the close of the index, which was 7 o'clock. I'm not sure actually try that. Let's just have a quick look. Let's put it over here. I just want to see what the futures did on the DAX day, because the DAX, was moving. They got smashed. DAX futures, sorry, the DAX index got smashed. So I just want to see what happened Just go to the DAX. So it was about here. All right, so that's where the DAX are trading. So it pushed down a bit lower, so they pretty much mirrored each other. On the DAX, holding out those lows, getting supported off the lows. It was already down probably 300 something points by that stage, 400 points on the lows. So they got hammered. I think that's on the increase in COVID cases and just the US mucking around with their stimulus. Everyone's just waiting for more. That's probably you would expect after the US bounced back off their lows on the open. They did DAX would make back some of those losses. And throw in a couple of handy tweets and bits and pieces about stimulus, and they're looking to get a package together. They don't have to do anything; they just have to say something. And this market will probably get buoyed on the open and start to find some bargain hunters for a bit of a pop. Hard to see what we'll do into the weekend. We're not getting that sort of kick on like I thought we may have. We're down 6 points. Let's just look at the index itself. So this is on a 5-minute chart, so that's just open log, found a bit of weakness. We're popping up now. We could just drift lower, but I'd be surprised if we get through that 6180 zone, back down there. Now that'd be down 20 or 30 points from here. We're at 6204. Yeah, I'd be surprised if we get down through there. I'd be surprised if we really get down hard below those lows, because we're, same as the US, just get buoyed on QE. Same as Europe, you get that support from dropping interest rates and longer term bonds getting bought up, just holding down interest rates. So cheaper financing, which is always going to support companies. So that's what we're looking at, I guess. So free money, but to provide some sort of support. So that's why I don't really expect it to get down to 6180 or 6190 today. It could just drift lower, but being a Friday. But I think the way it sort of spooked people, the way the Europeans have actually, they opened and headed south, it sort of spooked our ASX a bit. So everyone's still, a lot of talk about a sell-off. We've got every reason to sell off. We always talk about this, but it's just not doing it. So that's why I think the US is bound to just wait and see what happens in elections. Nut out what could be happening or what you expect on the elections. With Trump or Biden, is there I think Brooke will know, is there what do you call it? An argument happening at midday? An argument? Well, the mind. I saw you posted that. Is it midday, or is that not happening? Is it something else happening? Maybe that's older data. I thought they were just 2 down town halls. Yeah, so I don't think they're actually. I don't think it's actual a debate, is it? I think it was booked in for that time, but Trump pulled out because they're not face to face. He likes to see who he's yelling at. He abuses them. He's a legend. He gives me. Yeah, it's good to know if you think you're in hard times, just look at the US. Just a bit of a basket case at the moment. There's, the dollar index. We were looking at this on a 5-minute chart. I'm going to go back to the 30. So we're looking at this yesterday for a bit of a sell-off, and then this bit of a flush low for potential just getting bought up again. And it did. It got pushed right up to this resistance. So just below the 94 mark. So you see 93.90. But if you look at the longer term, just go out to Nally probably. Longer term structure, you can see that's been a nice little downtrend. We just touched on it here, and we're right there now. And that coincides with a bit of confluence around that 93.90. It's not a real resistance level, but it's a level where the market's reacted off. Whether it's from rallying into it and backing off, or dropping into it and rallying back off again. But it has done it a few times. You can see it's reacted here. Sort of pushed up, failed off, went through it, backed off, retested it, went up, backed off, bounced off it, reacted off it. So to me, that's a good where it could be. That's where the dollar's getting to be extended up here. So watch out for that. And it's not so much watch out for the US dollar, but it's watch out for, the Aussie's been belted, the euro, pound, all these sorts of things, and see if you can get a trade on the long side. Because if this US dollar bounces, and don't forget, take off, because that to take off is stimulus off the cards. Now, what happens if there's a lot more stimulus? I think the US dollar's been bouncing around these lows because, well, it has been bouncing around the lows because it's undecided of what package it's going to be. We definitely know there's going to be another package, either Democrats or of elections coming up. If the Democrats get their way, it's 2.1 trillion, with the potential to be a lot more, because the jobs numbers are not increasing. They're not decreasing. They're not, unemployment rate's not dropping. You're not getting these, the weekly unemployment claims are hovering up there. Really, they're still really strong. Okay, they were sort of backing off a bit, but it looks like the labour market sort of peaked out at, 7-point-something% unemployment. Now, if that's peaked out and it starts to get head down again, the longer they do nothing, the longer this hovers, and then you got obviously COVID problems in Europe. Don't see why that hasn't hit the US again. Probably has. They just stopped testing. Better off not testing and not finding out, and than anything else. Europe's going to have problems. The US probably has problems, but I don't know, whether they're right into getting it solved. Everyone's looking for a vaccine, which is not going to happen anytime soon. You can read all sorts of bits and pieces about vaccine stages, and they're not anywhere near as quick as what they. And there's a lot of negativity around, so that would still think, if they're worried about the jobs market, which is probably their ultimate thing, there's going to have to be more stimulus. If they can't get it down with the stimulus they've had, and even the package of another 2.2 trillion to come out, that's why I think just 2.2 trillion is going to cap it, the US dollar up here with this move. Now, if Democrats get in, that's probably what you can expect, even more, which leads me to believe I don't see the US dollar popping up, because that, longer term is going to trigger a bit of a wave of short covering, and longer term short covering, and back up to 94, 95. It could really start to get a bit of a move on there. That doesn't make sense when you're looking at stimulus. This price action is not too bad. You've got this sort of pop down. We got held up off this level, bounced up, straight back down again. So whether we're going to hold up down off this level and get something like that, another push down, it just has to sort of stay in this range. It can just hover in this range between 92, support around 92.75 and 94. Okay, so just up here, everyone might have a different opinion. I don't see why that would straight up and through. May back off. You might get a high low, retest, fail, or retest and actually go through. But I think for now, with regards to stimulus, even if Trump gets in, I think actually that could be a bit of an issue. If he gets in, there could still be problems with, because he doesn't seem to want to. What is he bumped it up to 1.8 trillion? God, we're talking trillions. It's just ridiculous. 1.8 trillion. He comes with a lot of stimulus. How he can implement it. So ultimately, they say, yeah, okay, we'll agree to that. But they're not going to agree to it because of all he's going to have, sort of control of what happens, which means he could actually just pump out the 1 trillion or whatever that he wants to and hold back on everything else. So I don't think that's going to get agreed. So that's not going to come about. So it'd be interesting to see if he wins the elections, what's going to happen with the stimulus, because they're going to still have that impasse between the Democrats and voting it through. I don't know the difference between the upper house and lower house, who will have control. But if he wins, it's not going to be a clean sweep for the Democrats. So we're still going to have major issues, and that could be a major sell-off. Last time Trump won, the markets were selling off prior to his election win. As soon as he won, bang, it took off. It could be the reverse. It's been pumping up every time. Talk of him winning because he's so good for Wall Street. But it could be just it, and then bang, we just get dumped on because we get that big sell-off that we've been expecting. So interesting times. If you look at that US dollar there, I'm sort of biased more, maybe some chop in here, but really down in a way. Look at gold. Gold, something to keep an eye on. My chart's really messy, but we've been talking up gold linked to the US dollar for a long time now. So if that's the case, if that's sort of pumping up there, that the way gold moved last night, US dollar was rallying here. Now, if US dollar is rallying here and gold's actually pushing up, it's not linked to the US dollar movement as such. And it might be that they're sort of, even though the US dollar is hanging on its highs, it didn't sell off. it's in a zone where it could easily get sold off. And I think gold is looking at it going, well, it's going to get sold off here. Why would we break down to new lows? We're going to support this region here and potentially look back up to 19, 20, 30 to these inside highs. If that makes sense. So that's what that was telling me, and that's why I'm sort of led to believe that maybe the US dollar needs a bit of a correction, needs some heat to come out of that rally. Look at Aussie. Aussie's been absolutely, that doesn't look so strong. Obviously, it doesn't look strong at all, but that's a big sell-off here. And it's sort of broken this contraction, longer-term trend down, contraction back up to that trend, roll over. So we're looking really to start attacking down to 70 and potentially below. So I think that is a sell. Euro is more linked to the US dollar, and you can see that's just banged off on support, comes straight into support, and we're looking to see if there's a reaction off support. So I wouldn't mind seeing a bit of a pop, a bit of a pullback to build a higher low and see if it can break back up again. And I think that would play in well to a US dollar weakness. Pound, just swinging between these highs and lows. We've got an inside level just in here where it flushed it and bounced straight back, where it could just flush and bounce straight back again. Action is consolidation through here. We're on the hourly chart, let's go to the 30-minute. This consolidation here could smash through like we did and bounce straight back. And I think that's going to be supported by Brexit, not Brexit talk, but Brexit positivity coming through, or they're going to actually do something, finally do something, then you'd expect that to support price and pound them to rally. That move down was obviously got to the US dollar, and again, negative talk on Brexit. So the news just loves thumping it out. If the pound is up here, what's going to trigger it lower? Let's just talk about Brexit again. Let's put something out negative, and then up she goes. So the news will just trigger it, but it shows that people are tentative, sort of capped up here by US dollar strength, and down below by Brexit, potential Brexit hopes. So I think that could oscillate. I see the flush happening. Maybe we flush a bit lower because you've got these little wick zone quite a bit. Flush low into that zone and bounce back. But yeah, that's still, like the euro, that's on support. There is some support that coincides with the US dollar and resistance. The yen, the yen's doing, it looks like it's edging lower. They're probably anticipating a bit of weakness back into the US dollar. We'll just see crude oils back to these highs, but it's more than anything, it's back up to these major highs around the 41.60 to 80 zone. Major highs up here, that's been a bid zone before, and then an offer zone. It's just below there now, but I think that's going to be capped up here. You might get a flush of the highs. So two things with that, same sort of thing. US dollar strength, it's kind of weird that it had that US dollar strength sort of been pushing up, but crude bounced back quite strong. And it looks like it's bounced back. Actually, let's go back to this. Let's get into that US dollar. Go to the 530 on this. Oh, still coming through clear. All good, all good. All right, so I was saying, so that's the bounce in that's the let me get this right. That was a bit of a sell-off in European session. Crude come under fire because the dollar was rallying. Okay, then the dollar started stalling up here. It held the gains into the US Open, but that's when crude started bouncing back. So it's looking at the same sort of thing, I'd suspect, the same as gold. It's looking at, okay, the dollar's extended. What does that mean? Any other time it means that gold's going to rally if the dollar falls. So it may be anticipating there's going to be a bit of a dollar pullback, and that's why crude's punched back up, and it punched back up quite hard because it's also got the benefit of production cuts to support that market. So yeah, it's a bit of mucking around there. I thought they were just 210. Yeah, I agree with you, Brooke. It's frustrating. Haven't traded this up move very well at all with the shares, but would have expected the market just to keep pumping straight up again. So that's with the US dollar. That's sort of what I'm looking at. You look at copper too. Copper just ran. Copper is very much similar to crude. Looks like it's anticipating That's copper there. That big spike up into the 310 zone was, if you look when that spike started, it's just when the US dollar started to peak out in this resistance zone. Okay, and then you got, when it was down here, was the US dollar was rallying, so it started coming to fire when you got this sort of US dollar rally coming to fire here. But it got supported quite quickly back into the lows. Back into these lows, found support. Oh, no. Come on. What is going on here? What? Oh, I know what's happening. It's a stupid thing, this. There seems to be a funny spin on this. Why it doesn't hold it. Anyway, I'll do this. And I'll draw it in over here. And I'll come back and I'll do that. There you go. Beat ya. All right, so that's yeah, so the same sort of thing with crude. Crude actually bounced okay off the support zone. Sorry, copper found some bullish action. It's probably just because, like I was saying, the US dollar's had a good rally up here, bit of a pullback, bit of a flush out, another rally up into that resistance at 94, selling off. Probably expecting that to be a bit extended where we are at the moment. And that's why you get these bounces in, say, crude. Anything linked to that US dollar has been traditionally linked. So sell-off in dollar means rallying in oil, support for oil at least, copper, currencies, things like that. So, and gold. What I was looking at with gold is that, yeah, it's getting up here. So if we do, it'd be interesting to see whether we have a bit of a pullback here and then a bounce higher. So just to see what happens with US dollar. The dollar's still, got a minor support. It could stick. Should just draw in here. Go through here, so it could have a big pullback back down to that 93.50 area, then back up to those highs. It's all fun and games. So that's what I was just looking at this morning. I thought that was quite interesting in US dollar. So keep an eye out just in things like euro for a bit of a pushback up. Maybe not saying I would be buying that break of that highs, but there is easily enough sellers to be flushed. With a pop up potentially on the Aussie as well. Yep. So just on chat to someone. Sorry, guys, just got to quickly test something. Right, let's just do. Don't want to do that, do I? What's going on here? Let's get rid of that. Sorry, guys, just be one moment. Then we'll get into the Hang Seng. Anyone got any positions on at all? Or is it sort of that Friday boredom? I don't think I'm going to go nuts. Well, not that I've been going nuts anyway, but a few trades yet this morning. Surprised if I get into it too much today, but we'll see. So we'll talk about the Hang Seng in just a tick. All right, so how is that working? So I'm just getting my minute chart up here. Or maybe I'm not. Where's I've got here? Let's get rid of that. SPY's popped. It's not looking so bad now. Look at that. A good old fashioned ramp in the Dow. And got a mess everywhere on that, haven't I? So it's really lifting, you can see. Yeah, a little ramp. It's not even open yet, so it looks like it's going to be a fairly decent open. Just the index was trading, when the market was trading around here, so it's looking like 140 up to 120 points up on the index once it opens. All right, let me get rid of this. So this close of it was at 6 a.m. Let's forget 6 a.m. close on the futures market. CFD pricing, still CFD pricing, but if it looks like it's going to CFD starting to factor in where the open is, we look like we're going to open 150, 120 points off that close. So we're going to open up a little bit stronger. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean we're just going to open here? We're going to flush up. The index looks like it's positive, and then slam the index down on the open and continue that momentum down? Could be. Sorry, just watching a few things. Trumpy pumpy. I do like that. Oh God! So you expect anything in these markets at the moment. You don't want to be short and find out he's talking up stimulus again, which he will be. He'll be thumping that out. He's well versed like that. I can't think of a better word than well versed in bullshit. The way he just talks things and jumping around left, right, and centre. You know, not long he was talking about stimulus. We're not going to do anything. We're not going to have after elections. And then he turns around a day later, so oh, hang on a second, I might increase my offer. So complete, I guess, confuse the market's a good tactic. So we got the Nikkei. Nikkei holding up okay. That's sort of pumped up into that zone. So we got this little, it was just hovering below that 23,530, flushed it like we expected, really that flush, but didn't really give us anything like this. It was just straight down. So I don't like that swinging. I'd rather have some sort of consolidation there and then find out, because with this action just straight down, you're not getting any buyers realizing they're on the wrong side, apart from probably a handful that have been flushed and they could just be stops. Flushing those buy stops from short positions just on the opens. There's they're more closing out. There's no sort of buying in here to gradually edge up to that lower high, and then they get thumped and they start realizing they're wrong. They're not. It's really just straight off selling. Flush the level, trigger the stops, straight back down again. So there might be a handful of people up here that have just gone long on that break for whatever reason. I wouldn't expect futures, maybe just flushing those levels, because there's some CFD. There's going to be stops up there either way. Flush it straight down to this little inside support level, which has been now flushed that out, trade support. So it's cleaned out sort of both areas. It's really just resetting to see, probably because the old Trumpy boy. So let's just reset. We reset both sides and let's see what happens. The Dow is just kicked on. I thought it might get up to this zone at 28.6. I'll be surprised if it gets straight through it, because there's nothing really above that. You can trigger some stops up above this level. Just take them out. We're going to sort of a spike into that zone. I don't trust a spike into an area. More if it spikes into it, you're sort of looking for a lower high to sell into. And it's traded off that level a couple of times. So you rejected here, banged around here, went straight through, tested 1, 2, 3, good spike high, still held as an offer zone. So it's still holding as an offer zone. It's back into it now for the first time in a little while. And it's just reacting down off it. We've got SPY is just kicked up and reacting down. So let's see what the good old Nikkei wants to do. So the Hang Seng. So today is on a Friday, it's 3 coffee day. Normally I have just 2 strong coffees. I've got to limit myself, otherwise I can't sleep. But today being a Friday, I'm allowed to stay up late. I've got permission, so it's 3 coffee day. All right, let's just go. Now, what does that mean? Go back to the index. Futures Hang Seng there. Let's just. So futures themselves, if you're saying it's going to open up on 66 280, somewhere up here, that's where the futures is sort of at the moment, just this inside level. Maybe that's just a level that's going to, holding up here. Hasn't really broken this downtrend. It hasn't broken it. It's just sort of reacting up off it. And it could slam straight down through, sort of in a minute, really. So the index. So what's that? That's say 2 to 320. At this stage, we're looking for the index to be, well, let's draw that nicely around this. So I'll bring it over here because that's where it's going to open. So you're expecting it to sort of pop up into that zone, which is not saying it's going to hold that level, but it's potentially just below that level there. So if it pops up, we might just find that's going to pause there, just into the previous lows, pause, went through. So we might find it's just up there, squeeze out a few of these shorts, and then it dumps back into that support. if this starts to hold, so we'll keep an eye on this level here just to see if that actually produces anything. So a couple of more minutes to the index opens. I think the dollar index is just backed off a little bit. All right, let's get a bit of fun. Let's just watch this. How do I do that? Where's my other one there? It's more just focusing on this 1 minute chart. Sorry, the 5 minute chart. See if that level actually holds, does anything. Might just blast up and through. So I always want to trade this open, but nah. You'll get a takeoff, be up 50 points. You'll get the tick, the high tick before it flushes, stops you out, and then high ticks again. All right, so maybe wanting to hold that zone. $53.43. So I just have to stretch. Any plans for the weekend? Everyone's a bit excited about the weekend coming. It's interesting if we just power down and test that 145 area. It's the Dow backing off here. We're probably just going to push into that low. Love to short it, but yeah, not going to. Oh, wrong chart. So we're looking for that sort of, push down potentially just into that 145, which is where it closed at night. Look what we've got there. Trump doing, so that's a bit of a that SPY's just dropped. That's a decent effort, really. 20 points on the SPY. That's not going to be happy with that, are we? Ooh, nice. Finally, this bloody thing's moving again. It might be what I'd like to term crappy little resource stocks today. It's their day to shine. No one wants to buy anything else because I'm going to put some money into these little resources. Opthia, so we got out of that. Stopped out of that yesterday, or the final half anyway. So ended up with 11% on the first half and down 3% on the second. It could be the way it sold off into that that announcement. Somebody knows something. Yeah. Dreadful, was it the dread pennies, what do they call them? This one, Carnivale Resources, that's what I was talking about the other day. Offers are gone. So it looks like there was unloading. There could still be someone unloading here, but the bids are starting to stack up. You can see, well, let's just see that depth. The bids were holding as it was pushing down to 3, 1.3, 1.4, so I was in at 1.4, got to 1.7, and then stall, went into, they have got news pending, and then it sold off. So you got someone probably looking for that quick gains, is sold into it, and it was kept smacking into it, but you kept getting soaked up, which is nice to see. When you got those bids there, and it's not the bids getting hit, it was just someone letting it wash down like that, flushing it back up, wash down like that. So someone was just trying to get out. Hopefully they're gone. We might see a bit of a run, because that's someone just loaded up on the upside. Yeah, look at that, a couple of offers. I don't know if that's in one foul swoop, but 127 grand, 72, 134. Someone just banged it up. So SPY down, isn't it? Jay, Sally, mate. Hope you're good. Like to see some action. We're just hoping we can get a bit of action this morning. Well, you want to talk about it? It's 12:30. I think I've already switched off. It's not good. Yeah, so yesterday wasn't too bad for me. Net, a couple of losers. I don't remember how many. Might have been 2 out of 6, 4 winners, up slightly. Nothing today. Too busy fluffing around doing some other stuff this morning, so I didn't really want to get into it too much. You don't want to stuff up your week. I tend to be pretty crappy on a Friday, especially if I've had a half decent couple of days. Tend to start trading just stupid, getting a bit cocky. So if I can cut that out of my game and be persistent, if I get tired, I'd rather just leave it for a bit. Now, are we just getting a bit of a, actually, where are we? Hong Kong. So we're back down on that support. Well, nearly. We're not far off where the futures open, which means we're not far off where the index, which is the index's the physical index, closed at 7 p.m. last night. So it's only 30 points or so. So if that's the case, still got another 20 minutes, so minutes. It's a bit early, but if that's the case, we're not really looking for this to open up here. You're looking for a more, that mid-range, and it could be that it's just going to chop around here. We might get, we might get something like this, a bit of a pop-up, might close back up to here, and then fall off. Whew. I'll tell you what, she's making everyone look like an amateur. About that. And that's the beauty of these little things. There's some that are they're getting ramped, and it's just the perfect sort of scenario where the market's bullish, people have made some money, and it always happens when this market's ran up quite hard. If you've made money on the way up, you're looking for other areas, you've got money to spare type of thing. And that, if people are talking about it, which happening time and time again, Twitter these guys I've been looking at, they've got thousands of followers. And you've got all these people that are looking to make a buck when the specs are running. They're following that, and they're following it blindly, which is not what you should do, but it's paying off at the moment. The ones that have got really do a bit of reading, which I can't anyway, and look into them, then they could do well. If they fundamentally look okay and they sound okay, then if they're running, you might as well have a bit of a nibble. You don't throw too much, but easily to triple your money in that than something ever. You might have to wait. I wouldn't say triple your money in BHP, but some of the big boys, you're never going to get that return. So risking a few grand is not a big deal. But in saying that, it could be 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 might, go gun ho, and the other 8 do bugger all. If you get it at the wrong time when they're pumping a crappy one. You get it on the pump, and then you hold it through the dump, and you just sort of sit there going, all right. But still, 1 or 2 out of 10 can make it. It could make it a portfolio quite well. Just looking at the index is still. How are you? Just now. I was just having a bit of a chat in TradingView. Get my typing skills up. Where are we? I don't know whether I'm looking in public chat or the intraday trading chat. Yeah, so the thing is, I think things like BHP, you know, your bigger boys, they're a bit easier to read, and you don't have to go trading 10 stocks. If you're reading it well, you're not going to get the moves though, but you don't have to throw your money at 10 different things. So it's kind of, what do you like? You know, it's more, I guess it comes down to what is moving. You know, if your big boys are moving, you stick with those. It's just keeping an eye on what's moving the market, where's the action at, and that's the intraday too. You know, where's the action at? You look at intraday trading, they're all talking about the same sort of thing. So you know, the next day, if it's something that worked yesterday, they're going to be all bailing into it, and there's probably a few more that jumping in the next day. And that's why they talk about these second day moves. So you get a news event, and if they're quick enough, so the pure intraday traders for shares anyway will be looking at the news coming out, the news flow. They'll be actioning on that news, but then you still get those second day moves, or that flow-on effect where people might be looking at it and jumping in and just causing that second day move, which you can still get some, you know, start running out of steam. But that's where the action is. It doesn't mean there's a good or bad stock. It just means that that's where it is. You jump in, make your money, off you go. Yeah, I've got a few little crappy ones. Hey, do you reckon, Brooke? Do you reckon you can start typing into the intraday trading chat? I'm just flicking away from one to the other. Yeah, just one thing, Jason. Just, I know she's doing well. Throw it a desk in a ton of time, they stop working. Guarantee it. And if you start throwing money too much, always keep it a consistent amount. Don't start getting bigger. Going, this is the big one, because there come a time when if you start doubling up too much, and it's working, and you double up. That one last double up can kill you. That's my view anyway. It's the same in the markets. You know, I've traded like that in the past. You have a couple of losses, you double up, get you out of trouble a few times. And I was going through a big stage of that. Just first few trades were stupid, and I'd have a smaller amount. So, legend, thanks, Brooke. So then you double up, because generally my third or fourth trade was better once I started focusing. You started looking at the movement, the action, the price action, rather than just go, oh, this is a good level, it's going down, sell it. Okay, I just found the low again. Okay, I bought it. Oh, I just found the high. It was happening time and time again. But it was a random trade. There was no real thought process behind it or watching it prior. So I'd double up. You have 5 losses in a row, and I'll double up, and then I'm getting caned, and now I'm angry, I'm frustrated, and that's it. And you could burn yourself. You can really kill yourself there if you're doing stuff like that. So that's the biggest fall when you're on a winning streak. Is okay, you're on a winning streak. You got lucky to be in a hot sector, going well. Don't start loading up, because it'll be that one that you loaded up on. And same trade as you did 4 times before that, exactly the same, but it's not going right. You won't be able to figure out why. And that's why I'm a big advocate for hard stops. It doesn't say you want to run, you don't want to take more than 20 point hit. You either have a hard stop at 20, or you can have a stop on the hang saying 40 points away, but just you're always taking yourself out manually. But that hard stop's in place for the stupid, the brain fart, or whatever you want to call it. When you don't, you go, nah, that's not it. And I've done that so many times before. And I can tell you, it's just, it's a killer. All right, so the index in 2 minutes. Yeah, I don't mind if it fades away, Jace. I just want to be involved in the bloody thing. So now you've got the index is not going to open quite as hard as what we'd expect. The index is opening in about a minute or so. Let's just see. I'll just get on this. Let's put on another computer here. Expect it to be shouting what, 30 points, 30, 40 points up. Looks like you can see the futures getting a bit agitated. It's probably somewhere down, maybe down this zone, give or take. Okay, it's 12:30. Where are we? Just open smack in there. All right. So the futures just popped up a bit for whatever reason. All right, let's just get rid of that because I don't think that's any good. Actually, or is it? Not the wrong one, mate. Big push. Whether the market's actually going to push up to here. Yeah, no. True, Adam. That screen okay when you're looking at it? Is it just because you've all got your charts anyway? So okay, let's just look at this. If it spikes down, I mean, it's still a downtrend. We might find some selling comes in. Maybe it's too early. We might just be hovering around here, then roll. We haven't really. There's no real levels, and just move down at least on the 5-minute chart anyway. Or let's go to the 30. There's no real levels on the 30 either. You can see the levels holding the action down on the index itself is 24,435. So you're a couple of hundred points up. That's holding that action down. Is that right? 435, 235, yeah, so about 200 points up. That's why I'm sort of looking at this 310 zone of potential resistance. But for now, we're having a bit of a pop. It could just pop and then drop. Like I said, that trend is still quite strong. It holds down. Both 20 and the 50 are down. So we'll just drop it to that one to see if the market wants to drop from here. Sort of close that gap back into that support. So I think if it wants to go up, I always think it needs to pull back to find, not just, see this candle, you can't really see it. On TradingView, it's a green candle with the lows. From where it opened, it's down from where it opened, it's a green candle. It's happened before, I don't know what that's meant to show me. US 30s, sorry I didn't get on that, but we've got that holding in here, holding up at these highs. So these are the levels we're looking at. So selling into there, 28,600 CFD price. So you're gonna have to find, if you're looking at futures or anything, pricing up here, then you've got an inside level. This is on a 5-minute chart, by the way. So you'll be able to find the same levels, just mark it up with whatever price now. Inside level, it's just starting to react off at 28,565. And then 28,530 just down here. But it's extended. That mark's extended, and you can see this resistance being bid zone before, broken. Now it's an offer zone, and it's back into that offer zone. What has just reacted off that offer zone with a sort of spike up and rejection. So it's whether we get that gradually a flush of these longs is what we'd be looking for. But it hasn't broken down yet, so there's no need for it to, jump in here just because we're at offer, because this doesn't mean anything if you go straight through it and then retest it from above. All right, no action. I'll give you some love. Not happy to go long here because I think that's if the index will flush the high and then stop. Just finding a bid. That flies through there and doesn't. My issue now is if we get through 272 and just go boom, up 200 points, we don't even get an entry. That'll kill me. Still haven't seen it just come out and saying you give everyone free money again. So we're sort of hovering in here, which matches off to that. So the index is just pumping up to that zone. We're talking about 320. It's whether or not, it's going to respect it or not. Whether we go higher, whether we're just going to have a big bullish run today. Also, what you'll notice is that's a move. Maybe that's what we're going to see here. It's a bit of confluence where we could sell it. Look, off the cuff, it's not a bad area to be short, but there's no setup. Yeah, more credit, more credit. Everyone wants more credit. Does that just come out, did it? There's that's what I was talking about yesterday, wasn't it? Nothing out today. All right, let's just see what happens here. It could be, like I said, off here again. What I would like to see is a bit of a pullback at lower high for your traditional entry setup short against trend. But at the moment, it's an each way bet. This could just thump up and through. We consolidate here for too long, getting some selling to push down, and the buyers start giving another nibble up, and they can't hold it. Then they're going to have to give up. So buyers from down here, which is say 200 to 250. It's not a big move, but that could mean that we start to get a bit of a sell-off from here. We're kind of extended on the index too. Look at the 5, we're kind of a way away from the MAs. I'll show you. So that's a bit of an extension from the EMAs, but it's a potential zone where you find some confluence. We just see, just what do we see on that one? And that's a new candle, 2 on the 5. And is it going to go? Where do you go? We're just suckering in, trapping some bulls. It's where I usually would probably buy it. You know, and you get those days where trapping left, right, and center. And you get those days. Okay, the next day you don't buy it because it's a trap, and it's not a trap. It just rallies, which it could be. Yeah, looks like this index wants to go higher. Mm. Still think this is going high. I've just nabbed it on with it, and with the stop below this, if you can see it, stop below here at 63. That looks like it's going to continue on and maybe test up to these highs. Don't want too much in it. There we go. Maybe it'll kick on. If I can get 20 on sides, I'd be probably happy to get just this. You know, maybe not. So I'm gonna hold the stop there. I mean, it could get flushed out if it goes through here, and it could just flush in that low, bounce back. I don't think if it's going to go, it's going to. It shouldn't pull back. It should keep grinding higher, but it looks like it's a bit of selling. All right, probably get done now if that keeps. Yeah, it might finish below that level, will it? Oh, I'll be tagged. I'm out now. All right. Didn't kick on like I thought, so let's just reassess. This might be that big. It looks flushy at the moment. So candle's about to finish on the 5. I'm actually thinking I want to be short now, but So if it breaks down, what, 59, which is about now, might kick a bit lower. See if we can break this level. Doesn't want to go down. It's kind of still happy to hold, but yeah, just go. By the way, I am short that from that break. I just wanted to just very, very tentative on the way down. So it could be short-lived the way it's going. Hmm. Yeah, that's good. So I'm going back into these, well, these lows. I just wonder if it could expand down to there, but you'd be so wrong. All right. So my stop is still, I had it just above here. It's still there. We want that kind of reverse, to be honest. Oops. Mouse not want to work there. So if it goes to break even, which it could do in a minute. So basically 40, I'll be out. Still doesn't look too bad. You look at the 5. So we could begin. I don't know if this is going to continue on. I sort of shouldn't put these on. Oh, we're going to get a bit of a roll from here. It's bouncing back. It's still this kind of action, that pump up, and it's got sold off again. It's kind of like these retracements are pretty good. Looks like they're still fighting out whether they want to go higher or go lower. Who's winning, bulls or bears? So that to me might be a bit of a run up. What's the US doing? So one from one at the moment. I'm out, by the way, if you didn't know that. One from one. I lost on the win. Down slightly, though. Wonder if that looks like it's going to hold up. Still holding the MA down, so big rejection on the 5 minute. Been like yesterday, it's opened up, retested and failed at that level, potentially fading lower. Let's keep an eye on that index. So we just failed at these highs. Doesn't mean we're going lower, but come on, what are you doing? You continue to grind down. The index got short through there. This looks like it's holding down. It's not conviction, but the markets haven't had a lot of conviction. It's just been a grind, so it's sort of grinding from level to level. Hopefully it gets down to that level. So I got short in here, stopped out. Well, if we can get down into that 180 area, see what happens. I think there's still some, we're just flushing within that candle and then we head south again, but the index looks like it's Looks like it wants to have a bit of a pullback, maybe to that 190. Back to retest these 220. Let's see. Isn't it held in there now? Not looking so good now, is it? Awesome. So I've given it a bit more room just above that high, 62. I need to come in hard soon, otherwise that's probably it. Slam it back down again. Probably out in a minute, so it keeps. So trying to really pump it a bit. Yeah, it doesn't want to go anywhere, does it? Mm, very whippy. Can't make up my mind whether it wants to go higher or lower. Looks like it's going to go, doesn't it? Yep. News, mate. Yeah, it looks like that. Never underestimate the whip. It's just these candles that sort of pop up through there. Doesn't leave me too. Get down lower would be great. Take out that low ring. Okay, we're in still. So I mean, I'm in. Just we could be looking for a push down to that low. This can hold. Still going for it, aren't they? Yeah. So I just jumped out as well. I don't. If that was going to go, it should have kept going. You ain't flush. You can get through that low and then bounce back too hard. It still seems to be a bit of a grind. So I'm expecting a bit of a grinding market again. Just still don't mind me buy short. Sort of looking at that. And because of the index, it's just that it doesn't want to go yet. Well, if it's going to go at all. Still think if this holds. So look at the there's a potential high, lower high. It's just flat though. If this keeps edging higher, it sort of takes that off the cards a bit. Now, if the index takes out, say, 244, which is a long way away, not really, 50 points, it's nothing in Hang Seng terms. It could drop. Sort of, I think that's around this level here. It's one of those days you get nothing. So that looks like, no, it doesn't it? Got this here, support here, it's grinding up. It's too much of a grind for me to think that, and the index itself just holding below the MA, it's just maybe grinding up to test these. It's still, I don't want to be biased up here the way it's just taking out the high, dropping, grinding up through the highs, it'll probably drop again, sucking a few more longs. It's just this inside level where and that's really on the one, the anchor. You've had this move up, move up, move. Really just in here. If it can't hold it, you'd think it'd want to do it soon. Dow doesn't look too crash hot. So it's flushed that level, but I was doing that yesterday. It flushed on the 5 and then sucked in a few shorts and pop. It's just swept that level again, didn't it? I think this is going to collapse soon, to be honest. The algos are just working overtime. All right, so it's popping. So it's opposite day. All right, I mean, I can't go long near the shop with this market because it's just stretched considering the day's action. To me, could be going to 24,405. Yeah, exactly. Don't call it a double top. So it could be I mean, it's a good area to retest fail and then finish below suckering in. So that's the concern. You jump short, you're shorting constantly into a strong trend, which is not really a strong trend. It's still kind of an each way bet. You see the way the action's moving. Trying to ramp it. And the same token, someone's coming just selling it. So I think it's just the algos playing. They got nothing better to do. Just watch the index too. The index just popped through the high, which is coincides with that. I think it's extended. The momentum's still up though. That momentum's grinding up. So don't call it a double top. I have no idea why I can't. Do we get something to work off? The fire's not really. Nice, Brooke. If you take off, mate, don't see you. Have a good weekend. I feel like it should be a short up here, but it's not really. It's sort of against the flow a bit. That 5 pull back and then pop again. Is there going to be a setup? Still hanging strong on the buyers. The momentum's backed off, but when you get something like, pull back to retest this zone, 59. I feel like we should be long instead of short. Who knows? Yeah. It sort of looks like, just because I've drawn a line here doesn't mean the market's going to respect it, but it's tempting to short it in here, and then you just see the flush again, that flush in the 1 minute. So, ooh. Might be biased up for a bit. I've just gone with a stop below here. See if you can kick on. Just probably just pick the high. I think it was that day. Sell the low, buy the high. So if that's the case, we could just get this run up to, these highs. It's a good spot to go to. They're hitting it harder now. All right, we're a choppy mess today by the looks of it again. Pretty, I just want to give it some room, but one of those days, it's not a long, it's not a short. It's a crying shame. Mm, still not going. I'm still long. It's about even now if it can't spike up, which sort of looking for where are we? To push up into this zone. If it does get up there, it'd be nice. But just push it. Ramp it. Come on. Give me something to finish off the Friday on. Still looks like it could extend. Come on, get on with it. Oh, God. Flushes left, right, and centre. It's really been holding though, which is frustrating. That's what we want to see. Just get a rush. It still doesn't look strong to me, just that. So I'll tighten it right up. Probably have to jump off the phone in a minute because I think someone's going to come over. This kind of action is not looking too. I'm sort of still think I could get there. The way it keeps getting, you get these little knocks. It's not kicking on like you would expect. So really is sort of driving a bit, pausing. Someone comes and hits it. Driving a bit, pausing. Someone comes and hits it. So I'm not going to give it much room because I just think it's a bit of a struggle street at the moment in this market. You're not getting your typical extension moves. I mean, that kind of extension, chop, up, chop, and that's a real grind. So in essence, we've got a lot of people that be buying into this, and they could get slammed. So that's what I'm concerned that it's going to get slammed. So break-even point's about 0.3. So I'll probably get done. I'm just going to close it if it gets there. I'm not going to bother. Actually, it's just below here, isn't it? Swim out. Just closed it. Can't figure why it's just doing 0. And you've had swing high, momentum fail, potential momentum fail. We're not getting this pullback, but it could just be, I'd like to see a lower high. Might just be that there's no more talks, is there? I'm really trying to give it some room, but there's times like that. You expect an extension here, a good couple of strong candles, strong market, but it's choppy. It seems to be an algo-driven market at the moment, the way it's just grinding, and even the index is sticking, but it's sooner or later it's going to have a bit of a decent correction, but it's just one of those things that you can see that action there, that's going to drag in some sellers here, chop them out more, potentially just getting through the high, more sellers, or even just dragging some buyers. So either way, you're getting trapped at the moment. There's no shoulder, there's nothing. That was with the trend type of trade, which nearly got stopped out a couple of times. Even this flush down, I just managed to stay in there. I was about with the break-even trade anyway, so. Let's see. So Japan doesn't look too crash hot up here, but everyone knows it's a sell zone, so they keep chopping into it, keep driving into it, keep driving into it. And that's algo movement. They're looking for setups which they can go the opposite side of in a way and drive. That US is a mess as well. The thing that frustrates me is just you're not getting anything to use to trade. Yeah, that's exactly right. Everyone's just falling in. It's just, there's no real, I wouldn't think there's any big players in the market. It's just that algos can chop around when it's a relatively thin market. And you're expecting a pullback and there's no. See, even this little, this wiki candle here looks like a bit of some weakness, and then it's driving back up again. I mean, look at that. If that's not driven by something else other than your old retail or everyday trader, I'm a monkey's uncle. Back up to the highs again, just to tease us. Should I put that on? Yeah, it's a bit of a joke, isn't it? It's times like that. There's no, you can see this just with the MAs too. There's no sitting on the MAs. There's nothing. It's just playing funny buggers with us. Might be. XJ hasn't moved. So he keeps flushing the highs, backing off, dragging in shorts, sucking them in, squeezing them out, sucking them in, squeezing them out. The problem is just trying to pick where is it going to. I mean, where is the level where they're going to work off? The index is pretty, it's a bit of a chop fest as well. Might have to go in a second, guys. I got Plummer, I think, coming over. So what I might do is just call it quits here. Being a Friday too, I don't think I'm going to be doing too much if this doesn't get a move on somewhere. That looks like, you know, like it's starting to build for a short, but it's done that before, isn't it? Done it here. Flush the top, flush the bottom, go again. Flush the top, come down. You know, probably shorten it here. You might look for a flush in 97 and then bang, straight back up again. So that's just a grind. Today as I'm down, but that's probably a bit of a killer. Trying to stop that. Just watching that now. All right. Yeah, I'll flick it off now, guys. Thanks for joining me. Have a good weekend. I've got everything up and running, so I'll say goodbye to, where are we? If you've got anything you want to have a chat about, just send us an email. Or anything you want to discuss in talks. If we're bored like we are today, we should be talking rather than trying to trade this rubbish. Yeah, just let me know. Otherwise, have a great day, and we'll speak to you again soon. Cheers, guys. Bye.